Two of the rumored coaching candidates for the Chicago Bears gave updates, and neither one of them are really coming to the Chicago Bears. Plus, after the Chicago Bears' embarrassing effort against the San Francisco 49ers, we're going to talk about the players that stood out both positively and negatively. Just a heads up, way more negative than positive. Plus, we're going to dive a little bit into the mailbag. All that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And we got updates on Bill Belichick and Kyle Shanahan in regards to their search. Bill Belichick seems like he's all lined up for that North Carolina gig. And so for the Bears fans, C-Dub, one of the hosts here of this channel, who's hoping for Bill Belichick, it does not seem like that is going to be the case. I don't know how much ever that really was a realistic chance for the Chicago Bears anyway, but it comes down to it, man. It seems like Bill Belichick seemed like he's not going to be coming to the Chicago Bears for anybody who thinks that that's going to happen. Now, it does seem Adam Schefter has said that the talks are going on, but Bill Belichick is still staying slim when it comes down to it. But here's what I've said when it comes down. Adam Schefter saying this. They've not been able to come close on a deal for what I've heard. I think it's unlikely that he winds up as the head coach of North Carolina, but the sides have been talking and there have been going back and forth. So that's the talk around that. I know some Bears fans are going to still hold out hopes that Bill Belichick ends up coming to this situation, but at the end of the day, man, it is what it is when it comes down to it, man. Is Bill Belichick going to save the Chicago Bears? No, I doubt it. Kyle Shanahan also recently commented on the rumors of a trade, saying that he's exactly where he wants to be. But I guess that really doesn't mean if he's going to actually be cut. The San Francisco 49ers, despite beating the Chicago Bears, you still have some doubt around them and things like that. So we'll see what the future holds, for the Bears and their head coaching search. But one of the things that are clear here is that, Thomas Brown's first game as the head coach of the Chicago Bears was a complete disaster. And I'm not saying that it was just a disaster because of him alone either. I just think when it comes, the team just executed piss poorly. We had low energy. We didn't have any of the fight that it seemed like we were going to have coming into this game. And once again, the Bears are failing at every level of an organization. And that's just where we've repeatedly been as a team. We fell at every single level possible as a franchise. And as long as that continues to happen, the Bears are just going to keep spinning their wheels, right? And I know the roar and the desire and the talk about firing Ryan Poles is all loud, but like everything that we heard seems like they're committed to letting Ryan Poles have an opportunity to fix and correct this mess that he's built here with the coaching staff, the lack of offensive line. But like I said before, I'm not somebody who is going to all of a sudden act like everything Ryan Poles has done has been bad. That's just not factual. I get it. As Bears fans, we're upset with the place that the team is now. Players haven't been playing per what we expect or what we want. There's a lot of now rethinking around certain deals and things that was made. And be clear, he's had big, huge miscues that Ryan Poles has had. But he's also done some good for this Bears team. And I think, I know people now kind of reframe and look at like, we let it go of all the veterans. But we weren't really going anywhere with them either. So, we got some serious things that we need to fix and correct. And it seems like Ryan Poles is going to be given a chance this offseason to correct those things. But like I've said many times before, and we were asked this yesterday on the post-game show, we didn't get a chance to answer it, but like, should Ryan Poles' seat be hot? Yeah, absolutely. Should be warming the fuck up. And I think if he gets this coaching search right, then that goes a long way, maybe cooling that seat down some. But we still got personnel on the football field that we also need to correct. And I think that thing kind of goes hand in hand. Because I think if we get the right coach that is going to hold this front office accountable to where they've gone wrong before this head coach comes in here, then that can work. And, it is what it is. The Bears, once again, talked a good game coming into the 49ers game, but the execution was severely lacking. And that's just, listen, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. We had more punts than yards in the first half of the game for. Caleb Williams played we'll get into that. But overall, now they're, while they're a growing part of the Bears community calling and hoping that Thomas Brown was going to be the next head coach because of, again, rightfully so, the accountability that he talked about. But you got to have accountability on the field. He still has 4 more games to show what he can bring as a head coach. But I think overall it just comes back to this thing. Like, I want the Bears to interview everybody that's willing to come in here and really wants this job, and for them to find the right guy. And I know, you still got your delineation between Bears fans that want to see a veteran person and think, oh, there's no way that we're done with rookie or first-time head coaches. You have your Bears fans are like, hey, let's just get the right guy, whoever that is, the Ben Johnsons, the Cliff Kingsbury's, whoever it is, right? And it just comes down to get the right guy. Just get the right guy. That's all it comes down to, is do your thing that you feel confident that you've gotten the right guy that's going to be able to speak to these players, is going to be able to galvanize this roster together. Let's go out and get the right guy in that case. And we'll see what the Bears end up doing. But yesterday's game was a shit show, bro. It was so bad to see how this team executed after all the talk and things around this team coming into this game, all the things that felt okay, right? Like, Eric Washington's defensive play calling left a lot to be desired. And I really hate, as just a pride and a petty thing, I really hate that overall Matt Eberflus is somewhere probably sitting at home like, hey, y'all thought it was just me? And it was never just Matt Eberflus, right? But we got some things that need to go on here. And I had a pretty passionate rant at the end of that last game where I talked about everybody, from the Kevin Warrens down to the last player on the 53-man roster. We all got to look at ourselves and ask, what the fuck are we trying to do? Because we got to get into much better place. But let's get back to our usual Monday content, because I don't want to start stressing myself. And what we do here on Mondays is we look over the players that stood out, both good and bad, in the game on Sunday. And this first one that we're going to talk about is Rome Odunze. After the game, I said that TJ Edwards was the only player, and we'll get to him. But Rome Odunze and what he's done so far in this rookie season, how he's improved week after week. Rome Odunze had himself a game, in a game where the Bears offense, for the most part, couldn't move a goddamn thing. Like that, let's be clear here. Rome Odunze with 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns was just an amazing play when you go and look at it. And Rome Odunze is going to be coming out of this season, going into next season. And some people are going to talk about it and ask questions, should Rome actually be wide receiver number 1? There's going to be that conversation in the offseason. You look at the size that Rome Odunze has. Like I said, the chemistry that he does have with Caleb Williams. Yes, he has only 3 touchdowns on the season, but out of 81 targets, he has 45 receptions, 585 yards as well. Rome Odunze is going to be a beast for the Chicago Bears. I feel pretty confident in saying that. I feel pretty confident in who and what Rome Odunze is going to be as a player going forth into his NFL career. And he had himself a solid game yesterday. He was one of the players that stood up, one of the few that stood out positively on that. He had a career best 2 touchdowns, 4 catches, 42 yards. Of course, the offense looked like god-awful, so it's not a lot of yardage to go around when it comes down to that. But Rome Odunze looked really good. Another player who I just alluded to a little bit, TJ Edwards. TJ Edwards had himself an absolute game when it comes down to it. You look at what TJ Edwards was able to do. 10 total tackles, 6 of those being solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 pass deflected as well. TJ Edwards was, if you look at any player that was trying to play with the intensity that we needed and wanted to see with the defense, it was TJ Edwards. Edwards has been the most consistent Bear on defense when it comes to statistics all season long. He's putting together another Pro Bowl level season as TJ Edwards, and I love I love having TJ Edwards as a linebacker for the Chicago Bears, and I hope that he stays on long term. He's having himself a year. It's not as good statistically as what he had last year, right? And we don't. And now with only 4 games left, it's probably not going to be that either. But you can't deny the impact that TJ Edwards has had for the Chicago Bears team. TJ Edwards has had himself a season, man, and gotta love to see how TJ Edwards continues to perform, continues to stand out for this Bears team. And just overall, TJ Edwards is the type of guy that you just want on your team. Sometimes you can overlook it. It's times where you go into the end of games and you look at the stat sheet and you're like, no, let's see who did what. And you're like, TJ, you know what? Yeah, and you think back on it on the game and you're like, yeah, TJ Edwards had himself a freaking game. TJ Edwards is a monster, man. I love seeing TJ Edwards play the game of football and just what he's able to do. 62 solo tackles this year, 103 total tackles. He had 155 last year. We'll see what he can do over the final 4 games of the season. But TJ Edwards has had himself a year, and he definitely is a player that deserves to be talked about in a positive light so far. Well, definitely in this game. So got to give some love to TJ Edwards and what he's been able to do this season and in yesterday's game, because we needed somebody. We needed somebody to step up and play well for this team, and he was one to do it. And also, both a player that was both a positive and a negative for the Bears, who stood out good and bad, is Caleb Williams. The first half was an absolute disaster for Caleb Williams. But then when you look at the second half of this game, the second half was much better for him, like it always is. And, Caleb Williams continues to show some flashes, right, of why people are going to think and look at him as the quarterback of the future. Overall, 116.9 passer rating, but you cannot overlook the first half of Caleb Williams. That was a terrible first half of football from Caleb Williams and this offense overall. So he gets some good notes and some bad notes when it comes down to it. Eric Washington, his defensive play calling was trash. It was god-awful. It was bad. And so this was one of the worst showings that this defense has had, and it sucks that it happened under Eric Washington. But this was bad. This was bad. And I know we got injuries all up and down, but so did the 49ers. And when you look at the way that the Bears performed in this game, it really didn't leave much hope for improvement over the course of the season. But basically the coaching overall, Thomas Brown and Eric Washington, as the guys calling the offense and defensive plays, it was bad all the way around. Like, it was bad. This was an embarrassing effort. And if this goes on your resume as a coach, hey, you're not getting another job. Luckily, they're going to get more time. It's one game. There's a lot of teams that have terrible games, but this one really stood out as a bad game overall. And the coaching staff, they definitely get a bad one in this one. And then also the offensive line. I mean, listen, I know that we expected already. But yeah, Caleb Williams, we have the most sacked quarterback in the NFL yet again. 7 times he was sacked. He has now 56 sacks on him, this Caleb Williams. He's on pace to have almost 70 times that he's sacked this year. And at some point, Ryan Poles also has to get, because you are the one that's in charge of improving this offensive line, and you didn't. Coleman Shelton struggled. Braxton Jones struggled. This offensive line was god-awful and trash last night. And it was evident. It was evident. And it's bad. It's bad. The pass protection in yesterday's game was absolute shitty. And there should be no NFL team that's proud of having pass protection that performed the way the Chicago Bears pass protection performed last night. And then lastly, Tyreek Stevenson. What the fuck happened to Tyreek Stevenson, bro? Like, he's had some good plays since the Hail Mary, but the intensity, the passion that we once saw from him, the things that showed that he was a player that had tremendous upside, that's all been gone. He hasn't given the effort. He hasn't had the execution. And 2 tackles. And you see why he rotates snaps with Terrell Smith, who also isn't necessarily playing the best either. They got to get their shit together. They really have to get their shit together. This is inexcusable continually for this team. And one player as well that I didn't mention as a positive light that needs to be is Tory Taylor. Tory Taylor, like, as a punter, listen, Caleb Williams told him we wouldn't need him a lot. He lied. You lied, bro. Cue the Kendrick Lamar. You lied. Because listen, if it wasn't for Tory Taylor, we would get even more points put on us. Thank God for him to be able to flip the field as consistently as what he's done. Because listen, it's been bad, bro. And he had to punt so much for the Chicago Bears. 316 yards is what he put, an average of 52.7 yards per punt. And listen, if it wasn't for that, man, it's just embarrassing, really embarrassing. But shout out to Tory Taylor for being every bit of what we needed him to be. And listen, I get it. Ryan Poles got creative in drafting the punter. But I tell you what, if he didn't, we'd be talking about a game like this easily. Would have been 45 points, if not more. Easily. And so overall in this game, the overall effort was lacking. The execution was lacking. Everything was lacking in this game, and it sucked. It sucked ass to watch my Chicago Bears play in the way that they did, just to be 100% honest with you. But all right, let's get into the voicemails that we got. We only got 2 today that I'm going to play. This one's from Sterling.
What's going on, fellas? What's going on? This is Sterling calling on the road. Hey, First and foremost, I love the intro, love the show. I'm going to try to keep this brief. I'm not going to put this on this last game against the 49ers. I'm not going to put this on the coaching, even though the coaching was atrocious, especially up on the defensive side. These slow starts that they have on offense, it is what it is. It's week 14. We can't say the start of the season no more because we only have 4 games left. But this game is on the player, strictly on the player. There's no other way for us to say it. They got what they wanted. They got what they wanted. Is it a poorly constructed roster? No, I don't think it's poorly constructed. But the thing is, it lacks accountability. These players lack accountability. Accountability. Where's the competitive fire and nature at? Okay, this player got me, but I'm gonna either get him back or I'm gonna get one of his players back. And there isn't any players that you could seriously sit here and say on this roster after watching this game did that against the 49ers. The players should shut the hell up, regroup, and just play. This season is over. My suggestion is give the young guys a chance. Let's see what you have in the cupboard. Let's see what else is going on. I'm even all for shutting Caleb down. We know what we have. We know what we got. He is the QB of the future unless we don't get it right. The culture in that locker room lacks accountability and a competitive spirit. And it's been prevalent all year. You can't blame Eberflus. You can't blame Shane Waldron.
Agree with everything that you said. Bad coaching on both sides of the football, poor executions from players. Now, as far as shutting down Caleb Williams, I get what you're getting at in that. And the fact that you don't want to see the young kid hurt. But here's the thing. This is the NFL. And I'm sorry, Caleb Williams needs to be out there and play. It'd be different if Caleb was like playing great, damn near perfect football. And then we're like, hey, Caleb is, and I get what you're saying as far as we still know that Caleb's going to be the quarterback of the future. But no, Caleb Williams needs to be out there as a leader of men and the leader of this Chicago Bears offense. No, you need to be out there and you need to sync with this shit. And I hope that, and I'm not saying that should mean that it results in injury or anything else. And I get it, like why you want, like I said, I completely understand why you want to pull him. But no, he needs to be out there. He needs to feel what this is probably the most losing Caleb Williams has ever done in his career. And he needs to be out there to feel this losing. And he needs to go into this offseason with that motivation to go and improve the things that he still needs to improve on as well, to make sure that he does his part into making sure he never feels this again. I'm sorry, maybe that's a rah-rah thing. Maybe that's a short-sighted thing on my side. But no, in my opinion, Caleb Williams needs to be out there. He needs to go through this. He needs to grow through this right along with this team, and he doesn't get a pass either. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks ass that we have the most sacked quarterback again. It sucks ass that there is a chance of him getting hurt. But Caleb Williams, he doesn't need to sit for 4 games. We're talking about maybe the last 2 games, the last game maybe, but he doesn't need to sit for 4 games. Caleb Williams needs to be out there. He needs to feel this because he needs to know, hey, I never want to be in this situation again. I'm going to do everything that I need to do to try to ensure my team isn't in this spot again. And that's just my personal opinion on it. I know not everybody's going to share that, and I get that, but that's just my personal opinion on it. And overall, this team it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing to continue to see this team fail in the manner in which they do. But we'll see what comes out on the other side of it. All right, let's get into this last voicemail. This one's from Thaddeus.
Hey, what's up, man? This is Thaddeus from the West Chatham on the South Side, man. I just can't believe that I gave the Bears this energy, man, for all these hours, man. It's sad with the product that was out there on the field. I would hope that they would. I really assumed that they would give a fight for. I mean, come on, man. You ain't got nothing to lose. You have house money, and you couldn't even give a good game against a weak, broken down San Francisco. I mean, nothing's weak about them. I mean, they're a good team. Okay, so this is the thing. I do not root for the Bears to start pretty much tanking, right? But look, man, we got to look at the positive side now. This season is a wash. Okay, Thomas Brown, I mean, damn, dude. I mean, you did the worst thing you could do going forward by getting beat down like this with score like that. Okay, but that's fine, cool. I mean, he's probably, I mean, he's a good guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, but the Bears gonna have to get better. All right. So now it's draft position. Is that what we on now? I mean, I would like to see Caleb develop. Although he didn't do shit in the first half, I don't know what the hell was going on with that. Maybe Thomas Brown need to just get in Caleb's ear and just stick with him and let the team run itself. I mean, right now, I can't see them winning the game, man. I mean, they may get close to Green Bay or Minnesota, Detroit. I mean, they may win, they may not. Hopefully not. Man, just get a top 5 pick. Trade it down, get a second round, get a second round, trade down to 15, get a second round pick, and just start building, man, and get you a coach and get a whole lineup, man. That's it. That's all, man. That's all I got to say. I'm just looking at the positive aspect. Hell, right now we might as well tank out. I mean, for real. Just ball out, tank out, and hurt somebody, hit somebody. That's all I want to see. I'll be satisfied with that. If the Bears could just hit somebody, knock their ass out, I'm fine. I mean, on the defense. And if the Bears can score, Caleb look like a good product, I mean, I'm down with that, man. And lose the fucking game. Fuck it. And we might as well just lose, man. But pretty much that, I don't know. I've been drinking a few, so maybe all this shit coming out mumbling. I have no idea. But this shit was sad, man, watching this shit. It was sad, really sad. All right, peace out, brother.
Tanking. I'm never going to root for my team to lose. The fact that the Bears already have a losing season locked in at 9 losses already. Listen, it's going to be a losing season for the Bears. It is what it is. The Bears aren't going to win. We've locked in a losing season, and that's just where it's going to continue to be for the Chicago Bears team. But I look at this and say this. I agree with what you're saying. There was not a lot of intensity. There's lack of execution, all those type of things. There was a disaster for Thomas Brown in his first game coaching. All those things are true. Focusing on draft position, here's the thing. There are teams right now with 2, 3 wins, whatever, right? And even if the Bears lose out, those teams are probably going to lose out too. So the Bears' draft position isn't really going to change drastically, not at least in my opinion. You might as well go out there and compete, draft, scout what you need to do well, and go out there and make the right decisions in your draft. Go out there and make the right decisions to improve your team. But I want to see this team compete. And I don't want to see this team tank. I don't want to root for this team to lose. I want to see this team go out and try to end on as best of a note as they can. That's what I want to see. It's up to Ryan Poles to figure out how to improve this team with the assets that he has. It's not on the players to go out there and try to lose already when we're trying to get off a bad taste in our mouth and a bad culture that we have here. Let's try to improve it. That's my thought, at least. You guys, as always, can let me know how you feel down below. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bull Central. Wrong. Make sure you guys are following the channel at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related. That's thanks to you lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.